All right, you guys, thank you so much for investing in the Warrior warm-up. I hope to dazzle you of all the steps we're going to take you through from the level 1 all the way through to level 5 to make sure that you get the best results on the Warrior warm-up. Now, before we get started, I wanted to share with you why I created the Warrior warm-up series. You see, for the last 10 years, I've been doing dozens and dozens of different systems and finding out what exactly worked and what didn't work so well. And over the last 10 years, I've been trying to condense every single one of those systems into something that took much less time that anybody could apply. So about 3 years ago, I had invented the first edition of the Warrior Warm-Up. And what that contained was joint mobility and wrestling skills from Indian wrestling, yogic postures, breathing, dynamic warm-up, static stretching, and everything. And the real trick is I showed that to one of my friends, and he said, "Holy crap, you got to share this with people." Because the truth is, you don't need an hour a day of this and an hour a day of that. You don't need to do the stretching here and the joint mobility there and the yoga there. You can combine it all into one system that will get you better results in much less time. So the Warrior Warm-Up is designed to take less than 20 minutes, more like 10 to 15 minutes, and try to get it done a couple of days a week. All right, so we're going to speed on over to what exactly the Warrior Warm-Up is hoping to replace in your daily life and how that's going to benefit you. So like I said in the last video, the Warrior Warm-Up was originally designed to replace a bunch of different things. So I'd like to list the things that we're trying to replace just so you guys have a good understanding of how we combine it all together in the Warrior Warm-Up. So the first thing we're going to work on is proper breathing, okay? Breathing is the foundation of almost all of your athletic skills. So we're going to work on how to activate the parasympathetic nervous system through proper breathing and how to learn how to relax, breathe through the belly, and not chest breathe like we do all the time. So proper breathing is first. Yoga postures is second, okay? So yoga is fantastic, I love it. But oftentimes when I was doing more yoga, it's like you have to drive down to the yoga studio, take an hour class or an hour and a half class, drive home. By the time you get home, it's been an hour and a half to 2 hours before you got done with your yoga class. Also, you could get your mind centered and feel a good stretch in your body. So we took that and we took the best yoga exercises and put them down to the smallest, easiest format for you to use and put them into this program. So we're going to combine the yoga with the breathing. Third is static stretching. So everybody likes static stretching. I'm somewhat a fan of static stretching too, but here's the deal, is you don't have to sit there and do an hour straight of static stretching. We can target the muscles that we know are tight on your body and we can work them little by little until they loosen up, okay? The fourth thing is balance. Something that we miss in a lot of our training is balance. Learning how to balance on your hands, learning how to balance on one foot, learning how to balance with good posture. It's really important. So that's the fourth thing we're addressing with the Warrior Warm-Up program. Next is core stability and mobility. So it's really important that first with the core, we get stability. We get the ability to keep our spine in one place against loads of different directions. So that's the first thing we focus on with the Warrior Warm-Up. And the second is learning how to go into more dangerous and neutral, or not so neutral positions, like bends, and still be able to have stability in those positions. So first things first, stability, and then we do mobility and learn how to stay stable in those mobilized positions. The next is the dynamic warm-up. So this is what you see in a lot of sports studios, things like that. People are doing things like side lunges, they're doing Frankenstein walks, hurdle steps. Dynamic warm-ups are incredible, but we took it and we put it all together with the breathing, with the yoga, with the balance, with the core stability and mobility, so that you don't have to waste 15 minutes doing a dynamic warm-up that you don't necessarily need. Okay, the next is inversion training. Now this is really important. Most people don't understand that by flipping yourself upside down, you create awesome blood flow in the body. You really increase your balance potential, as well as does amazing things for your cells and your longevity. So inversion training is something we do in here via our hand balancing series that we do with the upper body mobility, all right? So the next thing is gymnastic skill work. All right, now I love gymnastic training. If you guys have been here for a while, you know I absolutely love gymnastic training. So the skill work of getting into a good core position, of getting into good mobilized position of the spine is really important. The problem is nobody tells you exactly what it is that you need to do in order to get from point A to point B. And that's what we're trying to do with this program. The next is joint mobility, and you guys might have been a fan of seeing all the circles and this and that. And that's great, especially when we're starting in the beginning. However, it takes a lot of time and it's not necessarily the best use of your time. So we combine some joint mobility exercises in with everything else we already talked about in the warrior warm-up to make sure you're getting the best results in the least amount of time. That's the real goal here. And last is learning more body control and awareness. So the more you learn how to move your body, especially in different positions, the more likely you are to succeed in almost anything you do in the gym. It's not about getting stronger or more conditioned necessarily, it's about moving better. So we want to train those movements until this warrior warm-up becomes effortless and fluid. So those are the 10 things that we're trying to address with the warrior warm-up, and we're going to combine them all from what it would take like 10 hours to do everything per week to something more like 1 hour or less to do all those things. All right? So next I want to share with you the series that we're going to go through, the 6 steps that we're going to go through to follow the warrior warm-up. All right, now that you guys know what we're trying to accomplish, replacing all those 10 things with the warrior warm-up series, I want to cover what we're going to go through on each one of the videos below. So the first is the breathing sequence, all right? So it's important to note that breathing is the foundation of athletic excellence. I believe it was Martin Farmer Burns who said, "Deep breathing has made many a weak man strong and many a sick man well," as well as the old Sanskrit saying that breathe, for breath is life. Okay, so that's really important. We're going to teach you how to breathe into your belly. Make sure we can breathe also unilaterally, so we're able to breathe through our right side and our left side in an even proportion. And the whole goal with this is to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, that rest and digest mode that basically relaxes your body, calms it down, and takes it out of stress mode and puts it into relaxation mode. So breathing is really important, and all of the warrior warm-up programs start with breathing and finish with breathing. So in the first video, we're going to cover that beginning and end breathing sequences for both level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, next is our standing core series. All right, this is very important because the Chinese have a saying that you're only as young as your spine. So with the standing core series, we begin to interject a little bit of mobility and stability work to make sure that you have a strong core and a very mobile spine at the same time. It's important that we follow this program because we sit at computer desks all day long these days, and our shoulders hunch forward and our spines bend forward, and we lose the ability to move properly through our spine. So we're going to work on moving through our spine in the standing series. The next is the lower body sequence. And I really like the lower body sequence because it combines a lot of dynamic mobility stuff, a lot of yoga drills, a lot of balance drills, and the whole goal is to open up your hips, make sure your knees are moving properly, make sure your ankles are moving nice and mobile, and to get you from where you're at to the level 5 program on the lower body series, which is full leg balancing, split switches, things like that. It'll totally replace your dynamic warm-up for your regular routine, and it's totally going to open your hips up as well. The next one is the kneeling torso sequence. So here we take you down to your hands and knees, and we teach you how to move through your core unilaterally, contralaterally, and make sure that your body's functioning properly and get your shoulders, your T-spine, and everything else warmed up. From there we move into the upper body sequence, which really contains a lot of one of my favorite activities called hand bouncing. So in this, we're going to teach you how to have shoulder mobility, tons of awareness and body control, tons of balance, and you're going to build a heck of a lot of strength at the same time, just doing your warm-up drills, all right? After the upper body sequence, we take you into another one of my favorite sequences called the bridging sequence. Now the bridging sequence is going to start you with a really basic drill and work you into doing really advanced bridging mobility exercises. And so the key here isn't to have maximum crazy strength. The key here is to have a really strong, supple spine that can move in a lot of different directions, as well as making sure your neck is nice and strong and everything is stable against anything and making you as injury-proof as possible. And the last thing we go over is the rolling sequence. So another thing that people forget how to do is just learn how to use your body with motion. So learning how to roll, using momentum to make it happen, and making sure you feel comfortable in those positions. So those are the videos we're going to cover. Breathing, standing core, lower body, kneeling torso sequence, upper body, bridging, and the rolling sequence. All right, and so each one of those videos has 5 different levels. What we're going to do is start at the first level and work our way through that 5th one, and that's how you're going to get the best results, is getting all the way to level 5 on the Warrior Warm-Up program. Next, I want to show you the things that you need to do in order to get the absolute best results and what you need to do right now in order to get started. All right, you guys, now I want to go over what exactly you need to do right now in order to get the best results from the Warrior Warm-Up program. Okay, so the rule of thumb is 2 to 3 times per week, all right? That's the keys. If you can get this thing in 2 to 3 times per week, over the long haul, you're going to see some very significant changes. And I'm going to preach about consistency here in a second, but consistency is the key to getting lasting results, okay? So the best times to do the warrior warm-up is 1, right before your workout, shake it out for 5 minutes, and then get straight to your workout. Your body's going to be totally warmed up. It's going to feel really good. You're going to be mobilized. You're going to have some strength work already done before you even start your workout. The next is first thing in the morning, all right? So if you wake up in the morning, you got a little bit of time before you go to your job, it takes about 15 minutes or so. Just follow along to the warrior warm-up level, whatever routine you're following along to, and just do it first thing in the morning and get your day started feeling really, really good. The next time is on an off day for recovery. So if you're working out on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on a typical routine like that, let's add in the warrior warm-up on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays as a recovery workout. In addition to each one of the videos we talked about in the series, we do also include 5 follow-along videos that go through step-by-step the exercises from each level. So what I want you to do is start with the level 1 and follow along to it until you get experience at doing the level 1 exercises. Once level 1 feels effortless, and this is an important note, I don't want you to move to level 2 when level 1 feels very challenging and difficult. So follow along to level 1 until it feels effortless, then move up to level 2. Now here's an important note, is you might be better at some things and worse at other things. So identify the problem areas that you're having. For example, if you don't have enough hamstring mobility or groin mobility and you're doing the lying leg stretch series, and that's one of your big issues, work on that more frequently, okay? So you can do that in the regular follow along, and then afterwards, hammer away on the one thing you know is preventing you from moving up to the next level. So it's important to add in some practice of the skills that we're not very good at afterwards or in between or on separate days, okay? So that's how we do it. We start at level 1, we work on the skills that we know are harder for us in between following along to the level 1 drills, and then once we feel effortless on level 1, we move to level 2. And the same applies from 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and 4 to 5, all right? So that's what we do as far as following along to the videos and exposing our problem drills and practicing them. The last part is consistency. I cannot tell you guys how important consistency is. So picture this, that you only do the warrior warm-up 10 times a month, and that's an average of 2 to 3 days a week during the month, okay? During that 10 times, you're gonna spend 20 minutes or less doing the warrior warm-up. Okay, so ultimately what we're talking about is 3 hours out of your time each month dedicated to doing the warrior warm-up. Now that is less than half of 1% of your available time in 1 month, all right? And here's the deal, imagine where you would be after 10 months, after doing the warrior warm-up 100 times, all right? There's no way you could ever stick at level 1 or probably even level 2 or 3 at that point. Most likely you're gonna get all the way to the end if you can practice this program consistently. So I say mark your calendars for 1 year from now and say, if I am not at level 5 1 year from now, what did I do wrong? But follow along the level 1s 2 to 3 times a week, master those, move up to the level 2s. That's all you need to do to apply this program. Work on your weaknesses a little bit in between, and eventually you'll be doing a full level 5 routine. Once you get there, the sky's the limit. We can keep you moving forward with more advanced exercises, but for the most part, just focus on getting to the level 5 and use that as your warm-up before your exercise routines, first thing in the morning, or as your recovery workouts between days. So let's get you started moving on to the level 1 exercises on the breathing positions, all right? So let's work on the breathing first and go through all the stuff, make sure you understand what it is, and then follow along to that level 1 until it feels easy and you've mastered it. Let's get you started right away. So one more quick note before you guys watch the first video. I've chosen to shoot these videos without me narrating during me doing the exercises. The reason for that is when you do the warrior warm-up, it's really important to maintain your focus. When you focus hard on the muscles you're using, the movements you're doing, the way you're breathing, and the way you're putting energy through your body, then you're going to get infinitely better results. So I wanted to show you more of a pure warrior warm-up. So I'm going to be doing these exercises without saying anything, and there's going to be a voiceover that's going to tell you exactly what to do. Okay? So I'll be doing the exercises, trying to focus, use my energy just the way I want you to do them at home, and just listen to the voiceovers, okay? Once you get on to the follow-along series, there will be very minimal voiceovers because I want to make sure that you guys are focused on the movements, the muscles, and the breathing that you're using for each of the exercises, all right? So let's get you started right away and speed you on over to the breathing sequence.